Camp is a place like no other. We offer a fully inclusive environment where children and adults with disabilities experience joy and independence through year-round activities, all adapted to meet their individual needs. At camp, they can be themselves, make friends, and enjoy the same experiences other kids get to do at other summer camps. We began our summer programming in May, offering 9-week-long sessions filled with adventure, laughter, and inclusion. By the end of June, we had completed 4 incredible sessions. The week of July 4th wasn't a camper session. It was our 3rd and final volunteer training. From Sunday through Tuesday, 300 teens and young adults came to camp to learn what it takes to be a one-on-one counselor buddy. They practiced lifts, feeding, and caring for the everyday needs of our campers. By Tuesday evening, our training had wrapped up. Our volunteers went home and only year-round staff remained here at camp.
On the morning of July 4th, I woke up early to head to the airport to visit my family for the holiday weekend. The main part of Camp Camp's 55-acre property, including where I live, is 80 feet above the river, so I had no idea anything had happened. In fact, it had barely rained in Center Point overnight. But as I drove down Skyline, the road that leads out of camp, I saw up ahead that the road was completely flooded. Although I knew there would never be flooding on main camp because of our elevation, I turned back and drove down toward the riverfront. That's when I realized the sheer magnitude of what had happened. The river was up at least 25 feet above normal. What used to be a 20-foot wide, slow-moving river was at least 500 feet across. It looked like a lake flowing sideways with trees and all manner of debris floating by. It was just total devastation. So many of our trees were just gone or bent sideways. Debris covered everything. Picnic tables, benches, and our riverfront supplies trailer were nowhere to be seen. Even our beloved swing gazebo was also destroyed. We were obviously so grateful that the rest of our camp property was untouched. Our staff were safe and no campers or volunteers were here that weekend. Still, even when we were given the go-ahead to begin cleanup efforts, it was hard to know where to start. It looked like at least a year's worth of work for our facilities team, requiring tens of thousands of dollars of equipment rental. That's when I was introduced to Cord Shiflett, a realtor from Austin. He heard about camp, our mission, and what had happened. Cord called on a Tuesday afternoon and he told me he had a social media following and he could help mobilize some volunteers and some equipment. Honestly, I expected maybe 50 people with chainsaws and maybe a couple of skid steers. But by 10:30 that same evening, Cord posted on Facebook asking for money, manpower, and machines. His post was shared thousands of times. The next morning, over 300 volunteers showed up with chainsaws, heavy machinery, and a ton of manpower. Dozens of skid steers, excavators, wood chippers, and dump trucks were lined up to drive down the road to the riverfront. Over the next 4 days, more than 1,100 volunteers poured into camp, clearing trees, hauling debris, and working tirelessly. Donations of supplies and food just kept coming and coming to keep everyone going. Led by Cord Shiflett and Rusty Borland, an Austin landscaper with experience coordinating large projects like this, the impossible happened. What would have taken our team over a year was accomplished in just 4 days.
The outpouring and support caught the attention of local and national media. Stories about this incredible effort spread far and wide.
After the devastating floods hit central Texas, a fellow by the name of Cord Shiflett wanted to help.
One place that needed it was a camp for people with disabilities on the banks of the Guadalupe. It's called Camp Camp.
Parts of the campgrounds were destroyed by those deadly flash floods. More than 1,500 volunteers stepped up, some with shovels, others with chainsaws. The outpouring so large, some were turned away.
With chainsaws and skid steers, they are bringing beauty back.
We had to make a tough decision on whether to reopen camp so quickly. After talking with our board, staff, and parents, the answer became clear. Camp isn't just a summer activity, it's critical. For many of our campers, this is the only camp they can attend, the highlight of their entire year. And for the parents, it's often the only break they receive. We knew we had to reopen. Session 5 was canceled, but our team worked tirelessly to reschedule campers into other sessions. And as the gates opened and campers and their families drove into camp, we saw the smiles on their faces, the excitement in their body language, and heard the words of appreciation by parents, and we knew we had made the right decision.
I think that it was really important for camp to reopen after the floods because it is such a special place and it is such a bright light in such a devastating time.
Cord, Rusty, and the incredible volunteers didn't just save the riverfront, they saved memories. They saved joy, excitement, adventure, and experiences that many of our campers can only have while at camp. They moved us leaps and bounds ahead of schedule to reopen our riverfront to once again offer canoeing, fishing, and outdoor cooking. Activities that they love so much.
I think that the flood taught us that it reminded us that we're not alone, that there are so many people out there that want to help. Sometimes they don't know what to say, but they show up and they want to support you. It's amazing what you were able to do in such a short time, and words cannot express our gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you for bringing the money, the manpower, and the machines.